they got like this big, like, 20-something sexy man with long hair to play Prince Caspian. You got to get Susan's interest involved. That's the Disney way. Am I right?
That's,
But in 2023, the Disney way would be Peter takes a liking to Caspian.
We've seen a lot of the big monsters in recent years.
Yes.
And
I mean, let's just name a few just so people,
Yeah. We got Kong.
Skull Island.
Yeah.
Godzilla. We've got
all the
Amber
monster
Heard.
ones.
We got
all the Lizzo.
Gosh.
Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wiseworks
Call it podcast.
We're happy to have you guys here. We're happy to be here ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm a bit stuffy today. Not
What
sure
happened?
why. I think it's the number one, probably the weather is a little cloudy and rainy here. And then
it is. It's been that way for a week.
I do a lot of like leaf blowing, which kicks up a lot of dust. And so I usually find that if I breathed a lot of dust the day before, then like by the evening or the next day, I'm stuffy.
Interesting. Did you catch a good nose blow in the shower? There's nothing like a good nose blow in the shower. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I wasn't as snotty when I took a shower.
Did you see brown or yellow stuff come out?
No, I don't pay attention.
You
Dude,
can't.
every
No.
time-
Stop. We can't open a podcast with brown and yellow. Stop.
Freaking! I told you at the end of last week. If you're always gonna complain and be like, I'm done. I'm saying, when are you gonna get up the nerve? You got upset
Stop.
at our ranking for DreamWorks.
This is a legitimate thing for people. Aren't going to join the live if they hear that when they join.
That's not true.
That's gross.
That's not true.
That's gross. People are
That's
not
not
going
true.
to join this live.
Do you know how many people? I'll try to mask the I'll try not to be verbally creative. Do you know how many people watch Dr. Popper on the daily? Do you know how big her Instagram is?
Yeah,
but that's
not
pretty
everybody.
disgusting.
I'm saying my stuff's very mild compared to hers. Right?
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's very mild.
I mean, I don't have a problem. I think everybody has a threshold, I guess.
And freaking, we talk about movies like what's worse? What's worse? Graphic violence or blowing your nose in the shower? What's worse?
Blowing your nose in the shower is like a real thing that happens.
So is violence.
Yeah, but not like to the extent that we see in the movies.
No.
Yes, it is. You can
Not
get that
to,
violent.
not to the average person.
Whereas blowing your nose in the shower can get pretty violent. Just speaking from experience.
Freaking, I'm just saying, weak constitutions, weak ability to talk about the hard subjects, and I'm ready to go there.
Like
That's
I
all I'm
ain't
saying.
ready.
In the
I am not ready
Joshua,
to do this.
Joshua's not a real one. He's not ready to join John Bernthal on a podcast. He's not ready.
Is that what they talk about on the John Bernthal
Freaking
podcast?
John Bernthal wants to talk to the real ones who are ready to get down and dirty, and Joshua's not ready to do so. That's all I'm saying.
He's like, so tell me, Josh, you blow your nose in the shower? Tell me
Leans
what it looks
forward
like.
a lot and does this a lot.
Tell me about blowing your nose in the shower.
Stop.
Touches his head.
Freaking, so far, we're almost 4 minutes in, and Joshua's done nothing on this podcast but say, stop.
Stop. Stop.
Before we get going, we were reminded of that Disney Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And although we know it deteriorated with Prince Caspian, well, that was pretty good, but it really deteriorated with Voyage of the Dawn Treader, which there was good moments, but overall not as enjoyable, right? Freaking, they went hard with Witch in the Wardrobe.
Yeah, they did.
And it's still a good movie. It's still incredibly enjoyable.
I'd say they went pretty hard with Prince Caspian, too.
They did.
went-
and I think
they
what
went
they did is they didn't make
hard.
as much money with Caspian, right? and they got scared, and so they're like, let's cut budget for Dawn Treader, and they shouldn't have.
But there were some pretty cool scenes in Prince Caspian.
The whole battle scene was awesome.
Dude, they had a night scene where they sneak into a castle.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
What a cool heist in the middle of the film, on top of these flying
and everybody
creatures.
hated it because it wasn't in the book.
There was a lot of stuff that wasn't in the book, but I think as a movie, that one was pretty good.
Solid. I hope Disney goes hard with theirs. Probably not, but
Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think they delved deep into some lore behind Prince Caspian's family and added a lot there to give his depth more, to give his character more intrigue. Not that the books didn't do that, but I'm saying like in all of like, it's called Prince Caspian, and I would say when it comes to the books, the kids, the OG kids, kind of can take center stage in Prince Caspian and not so much Prince Caspian himself.
Well, I'm
saying they gave Prince Caspian a lot in that movie.
A lot of Prince Caspian was, I want to say, Caspian himself traveling like through the woods, through Narnia, and less of, because they had him travel a little bit and then meet up with everybody and start doing stuff.
Right.
But I want to say like in the book, he's doing a lot more journeying and adventuring.
Yeah, somewhat. It's been a long time since I read the books. All I know is that like overall, until we get to like the Silver Chair and we're getting new characters. What are their last names? The kids.
The Pevensies.
The Pevensey kids really take the attention of the story. Them and Aslan, always hogging the story.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is like, let's get
kind of.
Yeah, sort of. But the Narnia characters are present, but can sometimes just feel like side characters, like Mr. Beaver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Autumnus.
I think you said.
What I'm saying is that Prince Caspian in that movie did not feel like a side character. They really did him good. I think they brought a lot of attention to him and didn't necessarily take away from the Pevensies' journey and story arcs as well. No. I think Susan fell a little short. Didn't she have a crush on him?
Yeah. Yeah,
was that in the books?
He was 13 in the books.
Yeah, so that wasn't the case.
So no.
But they got like this big, like 20-something sexy man with long hair to play Prince Caspian. You got to get Susan's interest involved. That's the Disney way. Am I right?
That's
but in 2023, the Disney way would be Peter takes a liking to Caspian.
No, I feel like Edmund would be more on that.
Edmund.
That's a little more his speed. A little bit more Edmund's speed. He really became good friends with the White Witch in the way that the gay community really does with women,
Yeah.
Ugh. Why do I feel like if Disney tried to make that movie now, for some reason they would
be
make
so
like
bad.
Taylor Swift the White Witch or something?
Oh, 100%.
And
they would cast her fast.
The kids would all be like of different races.
Just randomly.
They'd all be, they were all adopted.
Well, they would probably make Edmund adopted so they can make him just black. And
they would make Lucy because Lucy is like this prominent character.
Yeah. And she's so good-hearted.
Yeah.
Like
so
Lucy's
they would make
such
Lucy.
a Jesus character that they have to make Lucy the black character. And then Edmund would be the only white guy.
Yeah, because he does the bad. He betrays them.
Yeah, and he has to be taught a lesson in the story. Teach the white guy the lesson.
Oh man,
this is a good start to a podcast.
Yeah,
I think overall, Joshua's already said a few more things than stop.
Is that when if Taylor Swift plays the White Witch, she writes another breakup song between her and Edmund?
Nice.
She would definitely have like that when the credits roll, she'd be singing something.
Call it Heart of Stone.
Yeah, something
song
like
could be called Heart of Stone.
They would make her a more
Throne of Ice.
Maybe.
They would make her a more sympathetic character.
Probably. Call it. How about this? Call it Garden Full of Hearts. How about that?
No, it's got to be ice, my guy.
It doesn't
she's
have to be ice.
Yeah, this isn't Alice in Wonderland. There's nothing with
Friggin'
hearts in this. It's ice.
Yes.
Ice.
Okay, if you do ice though, then we're getting too close to Frozen. So play on stone a little bit. I think that's more her speed. Play on stone. She turns people to stone.
Yeah, but it's like, with it's ice magic.
Yeah.
Is it?
So
ice magic.
It's ice magic,
turning people
dude.
to
She uses
actual
ice magic. Yes.
Is that her only magic? She's a killer cook of that, Turkish delight.
No, yeah, no, she's a witch. She can summon things and make illusions and all sorts of stuff.
Well, okay, this is one thing that I totally forgot until just now. They went so freaking hard on the killing ceremony of Aslan in the Disney version.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
It was so dark. It was like we need to tap into some of that, that Peter Jackson, Sauron's tower.
Yeah, it felt very occult, very
even in Prince Caspian
when
the witch and
they try to revive the witch.
Yeah, when they try to revive the witch in Prince Caspian, that was dark too. It didn't have as much, but it still was very eerie, and they got the essence of.
Yeah, what is that? Who is that character who with he's like the talking wolf, right?
Yeah, it's a werewolf.
A werewolf, and they put a black trench coat on him.
Yeah.
Sick, dude.
I forget his name.
I gotta rewatch these movies. I think I'm gonna skip Dawn Treader, but
yeah, we could definitely skip Dawn Treader, but the first.
I want to watch Caspian. It's been a minute since I watched. Caspian.
I've seen the Witch in the Wardrobe pretty recently, but I haven't seen Caspian in a long time.
Freaking definitely Caspian.
Love my homie Reepicheep.
Reepicheep is always awesome.
Character.
I don't know. I think I prefer Reepicheep as a little dwarf in a furry costume. I think I prefer Reepicheep, just a little tiny man, as opposed to an actual mouse or rat.
Nah, I like that he's a mouse.
Was there a crossover? Because I know in Caspian, one of the actual dwarf actors who plays the dwarf who does want to summon the witch back, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he in the old BBC versions of something?
Who played him?
He's the popular dwarf actor.
Was that Warwick Davis?
I think it was Warwick Davis,
so it was Warwick Davis and Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage,
two main dwarf characters
in Prince Caspian. Yeah,
then I'm sure
this was way before Game of Thrones, right?
Oh yeah,
this was way.
No,
before
it wasn't
Dinklage
way
was
before Game of Thrones. No. I think I think Game of Thrones season 1 was coming out around the same time that Dawn Treader was coming out, right? So it wasn't a really far distance. Like Game of Thrones started coming out. Let me Google that.
2008 was when Prince Caspian came out.
Yeah.
Okay, what?
I remember getting.
So 2011 season 1 came out for Game of Thrones.
I'm saying Dawn Treader was 2009.
No, it wasn't that quick.
It was 9 or 10. It had to have been.
Okay, so 2008 to 2011. So Prince Caspian came out 2008, and 2011 was season 1 of Game of Thrones. So there's like freaking 4 years there.
Voyage of the Dawn Treader was 2010.
Okay, so literally a year later.
Dinklage was not in Dawn Treader. He was only in Caspian.
But Reepicheep was now, and they didn't use a little man for that one. Do you think between Warwick Davis and Peter Dinklage, how come we don't know any other popular names in the industry for
I think there's legitimate gatekeeping going on.
Really?
Yeah.
By whomst?
I mean, Dinklage has basically said as much.
That's wild.
Mhm.
Why would they do that? We want to see new faces, don't we?
I mean, yeah, but uh, I think I think there's like gatekeeping. I think they're um,
What about the guy who plays Marty in Pirates of the Caribbean? Where's he at?
didn't he pass away?
Oh, I hope not. That would
Ooh.
break my heart at the
I
top of
feel
this
like
episode. Let's
maybe
see.
maybe that was somebody else.
I swear. Okay, Martin Klabiba. Martin Klebiba, I think is how you say his last name. He's 54 years old. Doesn't
Okay.
say he's died.
Okay, cool.
That's good. But yeah, he's not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Guess what? It says that I think he's slated for Snow White.
Okay.
So he
Yeah,
might be in Snow White, yo.
I just feel like I feel like I heard somewhere that there's dwarf actors, little person actors that kind of like gatekeep the small person roles.
Yeah.
And so it makes it difficult for other people to kind of rise up in the ranks.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, Martin, he's a good looking dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty. And upcoming, but he's got stuff on his docket for upcoming films.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd be curious to dive into to see what's going on there. But I don't know. Let's dive into the first bit, shall we?
Yeah.
Aha.
We're going to talk a little bit about kind of the not just the who's doing this, Warner Brothers Monsterverse.
Yes.
Apple
But
TV.
kind of big monsters in general. I kind of want to touch on. It's been we've had a lot of them.
Right.
We've seen a lot of the big monsters, and especially I've only got the one slide.
All right.
We've seen a lot of the big monsters in recent years.
Yes.
And
Yeah. I mean, let's just name a few just so people,
Yeah. We got Kong.
Skull
We got
Island.
Godzilla. We've got
all the
Amber
monster
Heard.
ones,
We got
all the Lizzo.
Gosh.
Yeah, there's been quite a few, and everybody's familiar
King
with
of Monsters
like
versus,
the older ones,
the
the what do you call it, Cloverfield movies, and
Yeah.
the Meg, and all these big
Titan monsters, basically.
Titan-sized monsters. Yeah. Pacific Rim. People like big monster movies, I think.
Right. I think it's fun. It's disaster.
Yeah, there's the element of disaster, I think, is what draws people in with just these absolutely insanely big monsters.
Yes.
And so, we're getting this new Monarch series, which promises, some monsters.
Right.
But also there's a new Godzilla versus slated. There's let's see, there's Godzilla -1 coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of stuff. And I think we're going to keep seeing the big monsters coming onto the scene. Tell me, I want to know from you guys.
Yes.
Are you excited?
I am excited about certain ones. The verses, I am not so, because we got a taste for what that looks like with versus Kong, right?
Mm-hmm.
My least favorite, they had to make it far too futuristic.
Yeah.
For humanity, instead of just saying this movie's about two titans coming at odds.
Yeah.
And then they had to bring in Mechagodzilla way too fast. I mean, it's like we jumped into the future within 3 movies when we should not have moved that quickly. I mean, humanity cannot build a Mechagodzilla. It just can't. And we don't have flying machines that can go to the, under Earth.
Yeah.
And we just added a lot to that movie. Those I'm not as interested in. This, however, takes place in modern times, roughly, right after the
Mhm.
events of the first Godzilla movie. Um, and and I think in the trailer for Monarch, it even showed the Golden Gate Bridge still broken from when they
Yeah.
busted it up in the first movie. So I'm excited for this show because I think it's actually going to show me a period of time that I'm interested in. I don't
Mhm.
like it getting too far from reality. I want to see these
Yeah.
monsters. I want to see these monsters in our current world. Like the idea of like showing when we started using nuclear weapons, that's when they came to the surface. That's when we first
Mhm.
saw Godzilla show up. Like that's interesting because that's even like in our history, and it kind of ties into like our, movements in real world history that kind of bring this to the surface. I
Yeah.
think it's cool.
Also kind of our fear of the unknown, or like what's down in the ocean.
Yeah.
Uh, they play
Mm,
on in Godzilla in almost all the movies. What did we wake up? What
mhm.
did we unleash upon the world?
Yeah.
And just Godzilla's always been a symbol of destruction.
Yeah. And even, with King of Monsters, I think that's the one it's called, where he's
Mm,
fighting the three-headed dragon kind of creature.
yeah.
That one was always that's like a titan that was said that was like a abomination to Earth
Mhm.
because these other titans were cultivated and created here on Earth, where that one came in through a meteor. That
Yeah.
one was a little far-fetched, but it still felt real because they didn't try to show us all of that activity.
Mhm.
It's more like historic legend. And
Right.
now we're in the middle of the ramifications of that. So that
Yeah.
one was more palatable for me. Once we got to Godzilla vs. Kong, it was just too out there?
Yeah, I feel like if they had introduced the center of the world in Godzilla versus Kong, and then in the next movie introduced Mechagodzilla. It's like because we got to the
Right.
center of the world, right?
Yeah.
There's new minerals, there's new energy sources.
Right.
We can we can work with those things, but it was like, no, we just needed a sample of the energy source
To this mecha, to our
uploaded to the
creation.
mecha thing. Yeah, it
Right.
was.
It's
Yeah.
like, it works perfectly now. And
Mhm.
remember, they
Mm.
short-circuited Mechagodzilla by pouring
Yeah,
Yeah.
coffee into the
bad. That was
dashboard.
bad.
And I liked the idea of we're using two King Ghidorah skulls, right?
Mhm.
To because the skulls are still psychically linked.
Right.
Like, I like that idea. That's the reason it comes alive, because Ghidorah's an alien and they're
Yeah.
messing with powers. Humans messing with powers they don't know about.
Mhm.
Um
Which is a trope.
yeah, but it was cool, it made sense, but then they introduced the third character. It's like they do in every, you know, versus movie,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, this character versus this character. Everybody likes both of them, so we can't kill either of them. We have to have a third person for them to fight.
More common enemy
Mhm.
between the 2 so they can join up begrudgingly,
Team up,
defeat the
yeah.
bigger
Mhm.
energy, and then, go their separate ways,
Mhm.
half respecting each other, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Freaking no. These are titans that would keep fighting till one's dead. They don't
Right.
stop fighting each other because especially Godzilla. Godzilla is
A
a
lizard.
reptile.
Yeah.
I mean, Kong may because he's monkey, he's gorilla-ish. Maybe there's a side of him that has tapped into emotions more. Like we know mammals can be cuddly and caring.
But
Mhm.
Lizards are not that. Lizards are not that. They
we also know
eat.
that gorillas, like, are vicious.
Yes, they and freaking powerhouses. I'm just saying, like, I could see that behavior, like, I can tap into the behavior more with Kong, not with Godzilla. Godzilla would literally just keep pursuing and ripping him apart until one of them's dead. He doesn't have a turn off button. He is a reptile, and you're not gonna change that. It doesn't matter if he's I don't know. There's just so much about Godzilla versus Kong that I hated,
Mm.
and not so much with the other movies, and that's why I think the show's going to be interesting to me. Joshua, share your thoughts.
No, the show will be fun. I definitely agree with you about the. I don't want to see a futuristic thing. I want to see more. I like older monster stuff, like not today, like previously. I
Mm.
Previously
time.
on.
Yeah, no, like back in the day monster stuff. I don't want to see today monster stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of
How far back in the day?
boring.
Like a couple years or like a generation? Like, do you
Couple
want to
hundred.
see
Ooh,
Godzilla attack
I
to
want to
start the Great
see.
Depression or something?
I want to see a monster flick during the Roman Empire.
Yeah, that would be sick.
That would be awesome.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't mind
That
that.
would just be
I
a
don't mind that
survival
idea.
movie, right? I mean,
It would
obviously there's
kind of
Yeah.
be
nothing that can be
Predator. It would
done.
kind of be like a Predator, yeah. But
Um.
let's say like no, like a 100 um Roman soldiers or something come across and find these like giant eggs or something,
Mhm.
and just happen to be like a
Life finds a way.
yeah, that would be
Like
fun.
maybe there's it would make sense for some of the old Greek and Roman legends to
Mhm.
have like a base of somewhere if these characters fought against monsters or they found something.
Yeah, the lore that these set up though, if correct me if I'm wrong, it's our nuclear weapons that wakes him up because doesn't
Yeah,
Godzilla
it
Yeah.
feed
is.
off of nuclear power?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
and so he's literally
But
asleep
but it's
until
like at the bottom of the ocean there's plenty of radiation for him to feed off of.
radiation. That's the word I was looking for.
Um,
Yes, and so there's no reason to come to the surface, right?
Mhm.
But I don't know. I mean, that would be kind of interesting to see. Do you think like a volcano does that produce radiation?
I think so. So,
I don't know.
Perhaps
I
there
don't know
could
any
be
some
like
nuclear
a
areas.
volcanic catastrophe that wakes him up during the Roman Empire times, out on the islands of Hawaii, and then he crosses
Yeah.
the ocean and goes to
Well,
Egypt
the
and
big thing about Godzilla is it's Japan's monster, right?
Yeah.
They invented Godzilla,
right.
and so like with what they're doing with the -1 movie, it's happening right after World War II.
Mhm.
There's not a ton of super technology. Godzilla is a disaster.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Godzilla is a big threat, and there's not really too many ways to get rid of him.
You can't.
Um,
That's the
No.
point, is you can't get rid of him. You just
yeah, so
should not disturb him, right?
I
And when
think
you
I think
disturb
it's
him, you're in
interesting.
trouble.
I think it's interesting that um, everybody kind of has a different take. Everybody kind of wants to see monsters do the big ones, especially do different things. Yeah, seeing the giant ape and the giant lizard fight is fun.
Fight. Yeah,
Um,
that's the only way you can defeat them is sick them on each other.
right, let them fight. I think I think it's good to see all of it, whether some of it is bad or not. I think it's interesting to see every time I watch like Skull Island. I liked Skull Island because there were so many monsters. He fights a giant squid. There's the giant reptile
Mhm.
things, the skull things. There was a giant spider that was killing people. I
And
Which
mean,
you
feels like
enjoy that. Like, you
mhm,
like the many monsters showing
yeah,
up.
I like the mini monsters.
and
I
which
don't
that
know.
feels like this show is gonna be a little bit.
Hopefully, I and they don't even have to be like giant. I want them to be fairly big, and I want them to be interesting because as much as I love Godzilla, if it's just more Godzilla, I don't think that's as interesting to people.
It just depends on how it's presented and what's the motivation of
Mhm.
Godzilla, or at least, like, what's the agitation of Godzilla, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what makes it interesting, and this is a series, so it has to be character-based. It has to be
Mm.
built around interesting characters that are telling a story, not
Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown, being a little kid boss. That's not what we need.
Right, because she
No.
was popular at the time.
Right. We got the Stranger Things girl.
Yeah.
That that's not what we need. We need deep, uh, emotionally driven,
Mhm.
motivationally driven adults to tell a real life story, not a
Yes.
kid that comes in and because they believe hard enough, they can be the ones to save the day,
Mhm.
Not that. Real world stuff.
Yeah. Wait, in which, I'm hoping that's what they're gonna do. I don't think they're going to be focused on Godzilla a lot. I think it's gonna be more like tracking down smaller monsters.
See,
Do
I
you
disagree.
Yeah?
I think that's what I want is what you just said, the smaller monster thing.
Mhm.
But I think they are going to throw him in there because he's a fan favorite and he
He's in
will
there. I mean, the trailer shows him multiple times. He's right here in front of us. This is
I
from the
think
trailer.
because he's got a name and people are like, "Oh, Godzilla, that's in this universe." Like that they are going to show him more than you think because of a callback type thing.
Yeah, I mean, and this also is Monarch, so it is focusing around the program, right? For I think harnessing or utilizing these titans to the advantage of the people. Um, so I don't know. They're definitely going to utilize this. I think ultimately it might be very simple to where it comes down to, you know, Monarch is like they're trying to grab control, and that's the majority of the
Mm.
series. And then Godzilla with and maybe they do a couple times with certain monsters, and then Godzilla comes in and just reminds them that as long as I'm here, no one's
Mhm.
in charge but me. You know
And
what I mean?
Yeah.
nobody's safe really.
Nobody's safe
'Cause
as long as I'm here.
they make a point of showing in the trailers that, Monarch is trying to set up like evacuation plans and contingencies for giant monsters. I think a lot of it's gonna be like, how do we convince governments to set up these things for these monsters nobody's seen?
Right.
And trying to get footage of the monsters, trying to get proof, trying to get the contingencies set up. So I think
Mhm.
it's going to be a lot of chasing down the tracks, looking for the proof of the
Right.
monsters.
Well, also remember when we get to Godzilla, the second one, which this shows in between those 2,
Hmm.
they already are like that secret program. I think it might be Monarch, I can't remember,
Monarch.
but
Mm.
they're literally remember it reveals that they are
Mm.
what 24/7 tracking the location of Godzilla.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
they know where he is at all times. That's gonna probably be a part of this show in some fashion, like how
Hmm.
we keep track of this monster because when he shows up, there's nothing we can do. You know what I
Right.
mean? So how do we at least can predict where he's going or what's
Hmm.
happening, what his moves are? Overall, I think I'm excited for this. I wanna see more of this. Hopefully, the show delivers. I'm not super interested in more verses. We're getting too far out there. I'd rather them invest time in telling backstory here and building out the lore here, which I think this show is the right move for that.
Yeah, I
Mm.
agree. I mean, I'll watch a new Versus movie. I don't think it's
I
gonna.
think we'll all watch it. It's not
It needs
gonna
to be something that adds to, like, it needs to add something interesting. It
To the
can't just be,
universe.
yeah, to the universe. It can't just be more big monster fighting,
Mhm.
Mm.
because we've
Also,
seen that.
you know how, like, in the early man, what year did the Godzilla come out? Like 2012 or 2013
Mhm.
or something like that?
Yeah.
Um,
It was right around
it might have been 2014.
Avengers
I
tw-
think it was
um
2014.
it was the Avengers Age of Ultron because
Right.
they
Mhm.
literally back to back had the two main characters be brother and sister and then the next movie they were in they were a couple and it was
Right,
kind of
right.
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, that Olsen girl was in this one.
Mhm.
Um,
And, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
yeah. Now, I will say before the monsters, everything was natural disasters. Now, all the natural disaster movies are related to monsters bringing
Related
the
to
disaster.
monsters, yeah.
So it's like
Mhm.
they're like, we're done with big tornadoes, we're done with earthquakes, we're done with 2012s.
We talked about
Let's now have monsters, titans bring the disasters.
we talked about last time how, certain types of movies run their course. I think the disaster movies have run their course.
Mm.
Um, and I'm thinking we're kind of on the tail end. Maybe not the tail end, but I'm thinking we're not going to get too many giant monster movies before the trend is
Done.
extinguished.
I'm
That's
interested to
it.
see what the series do though.
What? Okay, we're done with superheroes. We're done with monsters. We're done with. What else do we got? We got nothing left.
We got
We need to
sci-fi. We
be.
talked about this
Yeah,
2
it's
weeks ago.
sci-fi, dude.
Well, you can't. Every movie can't be
I
sci-fi.
also
People are gonna
think
get bored of sci-fi.
No,
no,
the
I
sci-fi.
also think some genres are going to wrap back around.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably. Like, what's the wrap back around genre? I think.
Okay, I will say the biopic with Elvis kind of sparked, and I think there's going to be a trend of that for a little bit.
Well, there's always been the trend. I think Elvis just had unique popularity, but like we had Bohemian Rhapsody before that. We had
Yeah.
the one, and that these are just music artists. We had
Biopics, I feel like, have always kind of been timeless.
consistent.
But you're right.
Elvis did spark something.
We were getting a lot of biopics.
I think. Do you think we haven't really left the musical, but the love for the musical has kind of
Oh, the
left.
musicals had its day. I think it could come back.
I'm curious when it
Better.
comes back. The
I
musical,
like the musicals.
Because I mean, what was the last big move? Was High School Musical the last big move to set the musical on?
It was a remake, but I would say West Side Story and
No, West
Tick
Side
Tick.
Story was the last things. What were the things that
Oh.
set the modern musical hype?
What's modern? Because like
Les
we had
Mis,
things.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
No,
And that
I think
Probably,
it was
yeah.
a little before that. Yeah, High
Well,
School
no, I was gonna say
Musical
like
probably.
Newsies, but Newsies was like
older than that.
97.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think you're
Newsies.
right. I think for our generation, it was probably High School Musical was setting the trends when everybody was kind of 10, 11, 12, and High School Musical comes out.
Well,
And
like
then
the Disney animations, it never stopped.
yeah, oh no, we were always getting Disney, music, and so I think, but I don't think we've had a bunch of big, huge musical hits. We've got Les
Right.
Mis, we got Sweeney Todd, we've got La La Land, which
Which were big movies.
were big movies, but not pushing a genre forward movies. When
Right.
you say cowboy movies, there's so many cowboy movies that came out during the
Yeah.
big cowboy heyday. When you say musicals, there's tons of musicals that came out. There's tons of action movies, rom-coms, 90s chick flicks.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So when you're thinking of like a genre and era of movies, I think the monsters are. I thought I mean I think we thought that we were getting more of a monster genre when because Pacific Rim was coming out and Godzilla was coming out and all this stuff,
Transformers.
Transformers with these giant fights and everything, and I don't think it has the staying power.
No.
No, that can get boring fast. It's like
Mhm.
Yes.
superhero stuff. It can get boring very
Well,
fast.
the superheroes has clearly been more successful with having tons and tons of movies
Mhm.
come out for superheroes because people like superheroes and there's a lot that you can do with them. How much can you do with how many times
Can a
we
monster
see
destroy a city?
yeah, can we see monsters destroy stuff? I mean, we've
I
been
don't know how
watching
many
it.
Predator movies is there.
Yeah, exactly. I think that there's a reason that there wasn't like a Predator movie trend is because
But Prey was awesome.
Prey was cool. How many times can you do, the Predator shtick?
At least one
You can
more
do it a lot.
time is what I say. At least one more time.
And that's why there's been
One more
series
again.
over the years Godzilla. There's been a Godzilla movie every so often for a long time.
Yeah, I think we might be moving into a period. Yes, we've talked about sci-fi. I want to take it a level deeper, if you don't mind.
Mm.
I think we might be going into a period where we don't really care so much about what genre it hits, because look at we're seeing a Napoleon movie coming out that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
very
Oh,
successful.
okay.
Yeah.
I think we care more about who's making it, because more than ever before, the common man and woman is paying attention to who's making the movie. Jordan Peele's
Yeah.
making a movie, we're going to watch it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Chris
how
Nolan's
do you
making a movie, we're
define
going to watch it.
yourself? Okay, Austin Butler was around in Disney Channel, and he did Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But he was I wouldn't
That's
say he was a
different because
defining
it was a
name
movie.
until he did Elvis.
Look, that's different because it was the only movie in like the only real movie in the past how many decades that it's about Elvis. That's different. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think because they're about to do One Love, or they just did
One Love's not going to be as popular as you think. One Love's
No,
going to be
that's what
very
I'm saying.
niche interest.
They are doing biopics, and we have not had movies about these people in a very long time. But for some reason, Elvis just popped off because of the performance, because of Baz Luhrmann, because of what? For some
Not
reason,
because of Baz. I
I
think
don't
Baz
think.
made that
Well,
movie
I think
wrong.
I think the movies in general. I think you're right about people wanting to know. Who's making it, who's in it. I think it's less about who's in it these days
That's what I'm
because
saying.
we've been seeing a lot, and everybody's seen this for decades of Hollywood finds an actor and really pushes them.
Yeah.
And I think it's less about the actors for a lot of people. I mean, maybe not, or it's definitely less about the actors for us and more about who's making it. I don't know that that's necessarily the trend of what people are looking for.
Look, I think there's going to be certain movies that pop off because they're covering a subject that people are interested in.
Mhm.
But I think it's going to be, maybe for a while, it's going to be really the genres are going to be the directors. The genres are going to be the creators of the film, just like Chris Nolan is a genre, just like Jordan Peele's a genre.
Agreed.
That's
Yeah.
going to be what we focus on for
I
a
don't
little
think,
while before we find the next big actual genre.
and I think it's looking like you're right. If one of them is like, we're doing a cowboy movie, then
We're
everybody's
still going
like,
to watch it because we're watching
all right, I guess we're watching a cowboy
Cowboy
movie.
movie.
Yeah,
And we're
exactly.
gonna enjoy it. So
In the same way, that Steven Spielberg has kind of been a genre his whole career.
Mhm.
I mean, there's always been this aspect, but more than ever, I feel like people are paying attention, like who's the creator compared to what they're making. Even more so than a few years ago. I mean, I feel like more people are paying attention that like Denis Villeneuve's creating Dune than we did back when he was doing Blade Runner. I feel
Mhm.
like more people know who he is now.
Yeah.
And for some reason, there's this movement because I think with how much garbage has come out of Hollywood, how much just boring stuff or just disappointing movies, we're kind of like, well, who are the creators that don't disappoint us that much? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm watching their movies. And I think
I
that's
think
why we're paying
aside
attention
from
more.
like because I do think the large scale epic sci-fi will become a movie trend. I think aside from that, um I think for a while people are just going to be enjoying what creators put out
Mm-hmm.
as long as it's interesting and fun. Like you said,
Yeah.
whether it be a biopic, whether it be a historic pick, or
Or a
cowboys,
Chris Nolan Star
aliens.
Wars movie.
Yeah, any of those. I think people are just going to be, Barbie or Oppenheimer. People are just going to be happy with kind of this hodgepodge mixed bag for a while, as long as it's good, before we see any real trend. And that's kind of how trends starts,
And
throw out
remember,
an interesting movie.
it is how a trend start because remember in 2005 to 2010, that was a hodgepodge
Mhm.
few years.
Yeah.
It really was. There wasn't any major genres out. We had Chris Nolan doing a few movies like Inception, but that was like more 2011.
Mm.
We had him coming out with like The Prestige, and we had Iron Man. You know what I mean? And we
Yeah.
had like we were starting there was this hodgepodge group of movies were starting the next genres that hit the 20 teens, you know?
Yes.
Mhm.
Um, and we're kind of in that new season where like we were in 2005 to 2010, like stuff's going to come out and we're going to find what works that we're going to be on for the next 5 to 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
And we'll just have to wait and see, but we're kind of at the start of that hodgepodge I don't know, half decade. Who
Yes.
Mhm.
knows?
And I think the strikes might have something to do with it.
I think
Oh,
the
yeah.
strikes is a big reset, you know?
The
Mhm.
strikes are going to be a big reset in this. But
Yeah.
do we want to shout out the Patreon? We kind of
Yeah.
been going for a
Yeah.
minute.
Thank you, Karina, for being a
Thank you.
Patreon
Thank you so
supporter.
much.
Yeah, we love that you're over there. Joshua and Wyatt just did a watch party
We did.
Mhm.
for Mission Impossible 1, the
The
first one that
first
was
one.
created back in the 90s. Man, I think that's going to be fun. There's a lot of aspects, and we talked about this on the pre-show, which she also gets to enjoy over on Patreon. Kind of our thoughts around the Mission Impossible saga, you know, with from the first to the last, the most recent, not the last one, but the most recent film. And there's been a lot of movements through those movies that are very interesting to analyze. But at least, you know, when you go back and rewatch, if you've seen it already, you get to hear fresh takes like Joshua and Wyatt just commenting throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something
It's a good
Karina gets
time.
to enjoy.
It's a good time.
And we also have exclusive content that we throw up every week. We have like a 20-minute podcast that goes up
Mhm.
every single week. That's the pre-show. We record it literally before we record these main episodes. So yeah, thank you, Karina, for being a Patreon
Yeah, thank
supporter, and we love you.
Yes.
What's the next topic?
Do we want to move
I
into
keep
the next
pausing.
topic,
Yeah, I
or
Yeah,
keep
do we
pausing
want
because
to? Do you guys have any interesting stories or anything before we transfer?
let me think. No, I off the top of my head, no stories.
Mm.
I think YouTube is an interesting place that I've discovered this week
Yeah.
because
Huh?
yeah.
You just discovering YouTube.
Well, no, I've discovered YouTube a minute ago, but I'm saying like this week there's been some new developments in my mind, and you know the deeper you get into stuff,
Mm.
what is that thing called? It's it's not the Dunning-Kruger effect. That's when you love
Huh?
somebody.
Is Dunning
When
Kruger
you
effect?
love
Is that when like a
somebody.
young guy starts dating a cougar? Like an
No,
older
Yeah, you said
woman?
Kruger,
Dunning-Kruger.
but close.
Yeah.
There's a curve
Mm-hmm.
that it's like a law or a rule almost with that compares to someone's, and I've probably talked about this before, compares to someone's knowledge on a subject and confidence level,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you learn about something and what it can do for you. So let's take YouTube as an example. You learn that YouTube can make money, can grow an audience, and fulfill your dreams in
Yes.
every way possible. You get super confident and you start to learn. All of a sudden, you're like, I have all the knowledge on YouTube. I'm going to become a success. You get a few subscribers, a couple hundred
Mm.
subscribers. Then all of a sudden, you reach a point where stuff stops working.
Mm.
You're not really seeing major growth, and your confidence drops off a cliff and you
Yeah.
hit like the floor, right? What happens is when you hit that floor of knowledge, you start to realize I really don't understand fully this. I felt like I
Okay.
did. I told everyone I did. Everyone saw me and was like, he must know YouTube. You know what I mean? Because he
Mm-hmm.
has a couple interesting facts about how videos are created.
Mhm.
But you don't really. You personally learn that you don't. And so your confidence falls off a cliff. Then slowly over time, you start to learn, and test, and it takes time, but eventually you reach a true height of confidence that's not a false sense of confidence that's built on this slow process of building. So there's always, whenever you enter something new, there's this up of confidence and then drop off, and
Mm-hmm.
then the next level is building confidence based on actual experience, and that's where the
Yeah.
real meat comes from.
I
And
think
it's
you
not
were.
like, go ahead.
I think you were right with the Dunning Kruger effect, because it's like self-assessment versus actual objective performance.
Is
Of
that correct?
yeah, what's
Sure.
your it's almost like overestimating like what you can do versus you know, even though you have a limited ability to do it, like you know, the statistic of how many people think that they would be able to beat a bear
Right.
in a fight with a knife.
And you can go
Um,
in really confident, and
yeah,
then when you get smacked by a bear, you lose all
yes,
confidence.
yeah,
Then you start to build confidence based on experience as you
yeah, and
train for
training
fighting for a
and
bear
how
after you
many
fought that bear.
and you start with small bears
Right. Like cubs.
and then you work your way up. Yeah.
To
You
fighting
wrestle a
bears.
cub, you play wrestle a
Mhm.
cub and realize how much a baby bear's strength has,
Yeah, and
right?
then you move to, like, the sloth bears and, like, the ring whatever
Mhm.
you know, the Indian bears, and you just kinda work your way up the chain till you get
You
back to
go
the
through
grizzly.
the bone plating of adamantium
Mhm.
process to make sure that you're well protected, like,
Yes.
just just so that you're fully prepared when it comes to fighting
Mm.
that bear, right?
But yeah.
Um,
Well, we're
I was
building our
just saying
confidence, I
well,
guess.
look, I'm just saying all that because, this week, it's not like I feel like I've already fell off the cliff, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
But I feel like I definitely feel like I fell off the cliff. I feel like I fell off the cliff a year ago, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so I'm in that process of slowly building my actual knowledge based on experience, and I feel like this week I might have hit, like, one step. I'm still at the bottom, but I felt like I took a step up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
Joseph be pushing, he be stepping, and he's been doing his thing.
Mm.
well, I'm just saying, with every new revelation, there comes a new experience, a new outlook on the platform of YouTube, and that's how I feel. So I don't know, that's been a big defining part of my week. I don't have a lot of stories, however, so
Yeah.
Oh,
there's
okay.
that.
It's fun. I guess
Let's talk
what's
about the next thing, Wyatt. Let's go
Yeah,
into this.
let's go into the next thing.
All right. Whoa, gosh, what is this?
Have you guys not seen this?
It's the
No.
alien
It's
stuff
the aliens.
Real aliens?
they found
Well,
down in
no.
Mexico or something. I've heard about this.
They
Um,
found this in Mexico?
yeah, so,
What's this? How does
uh
the song go? Something in Mexico.
yeah, that's I think you got it.
Yeah.
Um,
Sing more. You know the lyrics.
so this this alien, it was presented by a guy to the Mexican government with, you know, all it's like, here's all the scans and everything that scientists have done. These are real mummified aliens. But,
Hmm.
you know, I think it was, and this happened recently, but I think these aliens were actually debunked in like 2021. With the this one YouTube channel was like, no, here's based on all of the information that they've given,
Right.
all the X-rays and everything. It's like, no, the skull is made from like taking a llama skull and flipping it backwards and all of this stuff, right?
Okay.
The aliens have been debunked, but people were this was such a hot topic. Um, but I think everybody's biggest question was, why do they look like everybody's stereotypical description of aliens?
Aliens.
Okay.
Um, I don't know.
This is a
It
deep topic.
to me, it just looks like maybe somebody that's been in the ground for a while. That's kind of what it looks
Well,
like.
the bones are wrong. They're
Wrong.
humanoid-ish, but the bones are wrong for like a human,
Right.
and the skull is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to why does it look like everyone's version of it? I
Uh-huh.
think okay, so
Yeah, I want to know your I want to know
oof.
off the top of your head, why would you think that that would happen? Because I
Okay,
want to talk
so
about that a
first, if
little
this
bit.
is fake,
Mm,
uh, there's validity to making it look like the stereotype version of aliens. The reason
yeah.
being is because there are many accounts of eyewitnesses in real life who said they saw aliens. Like there's that kids school overseas somewhere, I can't remember,
Mhm.
but it's like it's not, it's a pretty impoverished area where basically during recess, essentially, these kids were telling the teachers they experienced these creatures come visit them from a spaceship, and they were like, "How many of you saw it?" And most of them saw it, and
Mhm.
so they were like, "Okay," and they separated the kids. Like, I think it wasn't the FBI, but it was like local government investigators. Literally
Yeah.
separated the kids, questioned them, and then had them draw what these people saw. All the kids' drawings were relatively the same, and they look like the stereotype big eyes, big head, small body, small mouth kind of look.
Yeah.
So there are literal, real world eyewitness accounts of people seeing things, and the look is consistent. Now,
Right.
there are some accounts where the look is not consistent. That's where the whole ideas around multi alien species are on Earth or have visited Earth,
Mm.
not just one. And so, and that goes into another deep realm. So for this is the most traditional view. So it's like, if aliens exist, if they are visiting us, if they are present with all these UFO sightings, the the thing remains, and maybe they were here or visited the Egyptians to help them build the pyramids or give them some tools or something, then
Mhm.
it would make sense that probably the most commonly viewed alien, the most common species that visited us first probably would be appearing the same and would be
Yeah.
mummified in Mexico or wherever this was, and they've been here the longest along with us. What are you laughing at?
So, so my perspective is that these are 100% fake.
Oh, they're definitely
Um,
Yeah.
probably fake. I'm just
yeah,
saying this
but
is the reason it would
yeah, yeah,
look
yeah.
that way.
That's it's good reasoning. I think it's most people. I think that's a lot of people's reasoning for why it's real. It's because look at
It
these
makes
accounts.
sense
Look
if
at
you wanna believe it's
because
real.
the history of it is in a in even going as far back, there was like a novel published
Mhm. Okay.
where there was a description of aliens as having big balloon-like heads and large eyes.
Mhm.
Um, and that was, let's see, when was that published? Back in like, uh, yeah, that was like back in like 1891.
Right.
And then more novels described similar looking creatures. Then um, then you had all of your encounter things.
Mhm.
So it's interesting that the novels with descriptions of what aliens could look like came out, and then your eyewitness reports happened not too long afterwards. So, like, I know you guys probably heard of Barney and Betty Hill.
Yes, yes.
No, I
They
have not. What
well,
about that?
they have a famous, like, they were abducted by a flying saucer and all sorts
Oh,
of
Mhm.
oh,
stuff.
okay.
Um, and so these stories and eyewitness accounts and
Yeah.
books and all of this stuff culminated into what we refer to as the gray men, or little green men.
Okay.
And it's the stereotypical small alien, big head, what you see in Close Encounters. Close Encounters actually helps define visually what those aliens look like.
Also, like, Steven Spielberg has done many different kinds of aliens, but
Hmm.
the most traditional style
Yeah.
with making it look like a little bit more stereotypical was like with War of the Worlds, except they
Hmm.
were bigger, they had sharper teeth, they had 4 arms
Yeah.
instead of 2. I mean,
And
Steven has delved into this a little bit
And if you
himself.
look at the head shape and, go to the next slide, there's,
Right, right.
also big similarities between, ET and these aliens. And so I think what happened is um, descriptions of aliens from books transferred to accounts of people
Yeah.
witnessing, transferred to movies, and eventually they were like, well, there's where there's smoke, there's fire. So
That's been the alien argument
that's the
forever.
alien argument
That's
for a long
funny.
time. And so when they created these mummified alien corpses, they were like, uh, they have to kind of look like everybody's the loose description, right?
Mhm.
Um, I don't know why you would fabricate these. I don't know
Oh, there's
why.
a lot of reasons why you would fabricate. A lot
Yeah.
of reasons. For one, fame. One,
Mm,
two, if it works, if you can get people to believe it and you truly believe, then you're just maybe you're saying, well, we're making progress in ways we need to make progress. So
mhm,
when they do show themselves or when they do visit, because they truly believe that they've visited so many times that we'd actually be in a place to accept them more or to be ready for them militarily or socially. So there's a lot of reasons why. It just depends on the the crazy level of the person who's fabricating it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's so weird. We always think aliens are these intelligent beings of go back to ET. Go back to ET because that's part of my argument is like these intelligent beings out in space and they visited us. Why? I mean, we have big animals like fish in the sea that are way
Mhm,
bigger than we predict aliens are, but they're not like super intelligent, or at least they're not
mhm.
intelligent to where we're communicating with them. And so, why are we thinking that these are not just other type of animals that we're not in communication with?
Because
Yeah,
they're flying spaceships.
yeah, so that's I think the prevailing theory is that
This
they
looks
have
like
to
a
have advanced technology, which means they have to be mentally on a different level than we are.
this
Or
looks
on a similar track, right? We're
Mhm.
on a similar track as they are. If
like a
they have
weird looking parasite or something that got overgrown.
Yeah,
well, okay. If you take
but
the
but
humanistic or
yeah,
evolutionary
if you
argument,
according
so
to the
are we,
evolutionary
right?
theory, so are we.
Right, right.
Um, yeah, and so my thing was with this, um, and the reason I wanted to bring it up because I didn't just want to talk about like, oh, here's this alien thing. Um, clearly, there's a huge overlap
Okay.
between
It's huge.
um, it's massive. It's there's clearly a big overlap between pop culture
Right.
of uh alien stuff, conspiracy theories and movies.
And there
Okay.
has
Yeah.
been
And there has
for a
been for a
long
long
time.
time, and I think movies and entertainment in a big way shape how people create conspiracies and think about things. Um, do you guys think that movies like E.T. Um, are maybe causing people to believe in extraterrestrial life
100%.
and stuff like that?
100%.
Yeah?
Well,
100%.
hold on. Yes, I think it's definitely influencing the public
Mm,
overall. I will say, at least from a this is not quite answering your question, but this is guiding my mind in a direction that like makes movies like ET not realistic. Okay.
mhm.
So not only if basically in ET, they're not bad guys, but the people that are causing the problems are the
Yeah,
government officials, right?
right.
The weird thing about ET is that like ET shows up and this is the first time it's happened
Mhm,
and they're right on it and they're like trying to figure out what's going on and don't touch him. Does he have viruses? And like, we've never seen this before. We're just trying to
mhm.
do what we think we know. That's totally different from reality. If they are real, the government's definitely going to do what we think they're probably doing, which is keep it a secret
Yeah.
and don't let the public know for a long time.
Mhm,
And so the story of ET is totally different than what would happen in reality, mixed with does it prompt the public to want to believe in aliens and fabricate evidence? Yes, I think there's plenty of cases of that. However, I don't think I don't think stories like ET are necessarily doing that. I think stories like Signs,
mm,
like,
Mm.
I think those are more likely to be an accurate representation of what causes people to believe in aliens, because like their ships are going to appear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and they're going to be. It's like almost this. I don't know if this is the right term for it, but cloak and dagger. Like, what's their intentions? You know what I mean? And that's with E.T. He's just nice little alien
There to
that
get some plants,
that
get some
didn't get on the
herb.
get some herb and didn't get back on the ship quick enough.
So
You know what I mean?
my theory is that people, we've always talked about like movies are supposed to make you suspend your disbelief so that you can get invested in the story.
Yeah.
I think that switch gets flipped and then locked for some people. I think it gets locked and jammed into place. The suspension of disbelief,
right?
And so then you're like, well, if it can happen in the movie, it can happen in real life. It's happening now.
In fact,
it is
so
happening.
My uncle told me that he saw one. I friggin'
it's always your Christmas. Uncle. My uncle told me he saw
okay,
one.
But it's actually not even my uncle. Last Christmas, you guys know Matt Prater. He's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
He told me the wildest alien story, and he 100% believes. 100%,
Yeah?
because he thinks he's seen a UFO. He told me the story. Freaking no. It's so not believable, but since he saw it, he thinks it's real.
You think?
Hey, everybody's got their alien encounter. So
maybe
do you
we
have
need
an
to have
alien
him on.
encounter?
No, I
that
don't
story.
have an alien encounter. In fact, I've been paying attention. So I listen to Joe Rogan a lot.
Mm.
Literally last year or 2 years ago, he had on a Navy pilot, a fighter pilot guy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
fighter jet pilot.
Yes.
And we know we lived in Virginia Beach. The fighter jets are insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He said he's stationed in Virginia Beach for many years. He saw these UFOs weekly flying out there around Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
Every morning, every evening, every time I was outside, I checked the skies out while we were in Virginia Beach, because it's like, well, the theory is if aliens are around, they're hanging out around the government military bases, right?
You're
so
not
Virginia Beach. There's people that this guy went on Joe Rogan and literally said when he's flying around Virginia Beach over the ocean and stuff, that they're there. He sees them all the time.
Wow.
So I always checked the skies when we were living out there to see if I saw anything. No, it's nothing.
Outside.
Nothing. I'm checking the skies constantly when we were in Virginia Beach. I didn't see a thing. Okay. And no, I don't have an experience. I don't have a weird phenomenon. And I don't think that everyone has to for it to be real, but dang it, I feel like it'd be a lot more people. And
I agree.
There's also a ton of, and no, I'm not. And the thing is, like, there's also the narrative of people want it to be real so bad.
Yes.
People
I
want
agree
it to
with
be
that
real
too.
because they want.
I think, of all like the theories, people theorize that things are real, of like, there's things hiding in the woods. There's things hiding in the ocean. There's things hiding, deep in the earth. I'm more inclined to believe in like cryptids than I am in aliens.
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to believe in Bigfoot than aliens.
Yeah. That's a cryptid. So.
Oh, is it? You use
Pretty
fancy
much.
words all the freaking time. I thought like a cryptid was like a little elf.
Yeah, sure.
I
so
don't believe there is an intelligent life smarter than us. I think there is animals out there that we have not discovered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Animals. That's all I'm saying.
Not fish,
and
not in the ocean. To actual like on
there's
land
probably animals too that we haven't discovered. I mean, they're discovering stuff all the time. So there is animals out there, but I will not say there's a form of alien intelligent life out there.
Do you think there's intelligent animals that we haven't discovered yet, who can basically
that we can get to the point where
we communicate with? Well,
I don't think so.
That we can get to where we communicate with.
There is intelligent animals. I don't think there is animals that have like souls and beings like us, but I do think there is intelligent animals out there. Yeah.
So before we move on, there's also another theory that's going around, especially in the religious community, that this lends itself very heavily to the movie industry in Hollywood. Okay, is this idea? So if you're a Christian or you follow Christianity, that we know that Lucifer, who's turned his back on God, and there's a lot of fallen angels that went with him. We refer to them as demons now.
Mhm.
They are their mission throughout the generations, throughout the period of time before the great judgment at the end of time, is where they're cast into the lake of fire with hell and hell with them, right? Is this idea that they are constantly deceiving people away from
Mhm.
God. What is I honestly, there are more than anybody would be comfortable with people that think that if aliens are real, God does not exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's this very large theory that in Hollywood and in real life, alien demons, basically spiritual demonic activity, are
Mhm.
utilizing this concept of aliens to turn people away from God, to
Yeah.
deceive the masses, to basically say like, well, if aliens exist, that means they came from another planet. And I'm
Mhm.
sorry, like people that say you can believe in evolutionary theory and still believe in God. Yes, you can, but there are so many people like, what Ken Ham says about creation is true. And we know that
Mm.
because people like Rhett from Rhett and Link, that was the number one thing that caused him to deconvert is I don't believe that there can be basically evolution and God.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
you kinda
He's
gotta
been
pick
very
one.
forward about that, and I'm sorry, I think evolution was a big part of deception by demonic powers to
Mm.
turn people away from God. I think this concept of aliens reinforces the idea of evolutionary theory, which also turns a lot of people away from God and away from Jesus because it's like, well, did Jesus have to go die for multiple planets of
Yeah,
sins? You know what I
multiple
mean?
different
when
creatures.
when man sinned, did it defile the whole universe or just earth? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so there's like this constant thread, and there is no question. I personally do think that if God chose to make other beings in other galaxies, because there are so many galaxies, that's his right and for his glory. But it definitely does cause a lot of people questions about what does that look like for us as humans on
Mhm.
Earth in the Milky Way galaxy in relation to God and the eternal kingdom? So I think this could be a deception, personally, that could be because we've seen it, and Hollywood is so dark. Who else better to make movies that influence the public? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
agree.
They're so connected with demonic
I think a
activity.
lot of that is 100% possible. Um, it's so easy. People we're so easy, humans. If you wanna deceive us, dude,
Yeah, just deceiving.
we're so easy to
Just
deceive.
show us an Instagram video. We'll believe you.
Yeah. It's not tough. Like I said, I think people suspend their disbelief to a point where they make it hard to desuspend.
Right.
You
Right.
know.
And that's very true. And freaking, it's kind of scary how susceptible to anything we are. I saw an Instagram
Mhm.
video the other day that for real got me thinking that the sky is fake. Like the sky is a screen. For real. There's these
Fake screen,
Instagram
a fake
there's these
monitor up
Instagram
there.
pages
Uh-huh.
that are getting like a group of actors together, pointing their phone at the sky, and it's showing like a split where the clouds like are out of line, like
Mhm.
they're not together. So it looks like there's a glitch on the screen in the sky.
Mm.
It's clearly created with a little group of actors, but it
Yeah.
got me this stupid Instagram page got me believing that the government's created a fake
Even though
sky.
you've been in planes, you've
I've been in
flown up into
planes,
the clouds.
and it looks exactly like you think it would.
Yeah,
These stupid Instagram pages got me thinking that the sky is fake.
it's
I
funny.
And
love
yeah,
it.
we're super easy, man.
Mhm.
Super easy.
Um, so just to kind of finish off this podcast, I'm always looking for something interesting, something an animation or a short film or something.
Yeah.
And I've seen stuff from this company on YouTube. They're on YouTube. They're
Mhm.
big on YouTube, and their goal kind of is to create fun sci-fi short films and give people a platform to create.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think is laudable. And I found this one that came out, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago,
Right.
called Build Me Up. And I watched it and I really enjoyed it. We don't have time to watch it here because it's about 13 minutes.
Well, can I just play a few seconds to give you a preview? And so
Yeah.
we don't get a copyright.
Yeah.
It's kind of looks like the stop motion thing, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
But
there's
there's
two
no
robots.
there's no like voice acting. There's no
Right.
it's all robot noises and eye expressions and music. And it is really just kind of a heartfelt story. What did you guys
Yeah.
think watching this? Because I haven't heard your reactions. Tell me.
So
It
it's
was
simple.
Yeah.
Mm,
It's very simple but fun, and
mhm,
it shows us emotion in robots, in AI things, I guess, if that's what you want to call them. But
mhm.
it shows us emotion, which is a good story, and it is simple. I wouldn't say the animation style is difficult either. It seems kind of basic, but it's still good.
Yeah, it is good. And there's lots of good details. Like I in the slides, I think I showed there's a picture on of the bed in
Let's see.
um the thing. So yeah, the glasses, and there's like another good detail of the eyes reflecting in the glasses.
Yeah.
With the firelight and everything.
Yeah, at the beginning.
So the story is these robots are like they're all alone because the person that
Created
was
them.
like their master or was on this mission has died, has perished for some reason. We don't know why,
And they're
but they're
burning him
they're burning his
they're
body.
doing Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, it was very Darth Vader-esque, and now they're sad, and that's this whole thing is they're sad.
Yep.
And the one robot is trying to comfort the other robot, but this robot holding the glasses is too sad, right? It
Mhm.
feels
The
like
taller yellow robot.
yeah. And what I was saying about the details, the bed, um, it just the main like the guy has such a huge presence in this film, and he's
Yeah.
gone, but he has like his sweater and his pictures and
His
his candle
scarf.
and his clock and his
This little
glasses,
clock, yeah.
all these things that make this character that's not in the story such a huge part of the story because it means so much to the robots.
Like
Um,
his absence is what drives the
yeah, I
story,
love
right?
stories. I love stories that use the absence of a character to motivate
And
the
to teach us
story.
about other characters,
And yeah,
right?
and to teach you about kind of like loss and everything.
Mhm.
Um, this I don't know the way that this short made me feel is what I want stuff like this to make me feel. I want it to tell a story that I can get behind.
Right. And this is a simple story. I mean,
Mm,
even with the snowman here, the picture of the snowman with all 3 of them, the creator and 2 robots,
mhm.
and then, them trying this other younger robot or littler robot, what it seems, is trying to comfort, just doing his
Yeah.
best to connect, to help, and be like, "Hey, we need to do this together."
And
Um,
there's all range of emotions from these robots too, like
Yeah,
even him getting mad.
yeah, there's a
getting
lot of
mad,
anger coming from the
getting
other robot.
tired.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And here's the thing, I have issues with stories that take robots and make them human, anthropomorphize them, especially in things like Star Wars,
Right.
where you know, in the originals they were robots. You cared about them, but they're robots. In a story where they open up with the robots having emotions and feelings, I don't feel
Right.
that way. Um, I They clearly have emotions and feelings, and that's what the story is about. And it's
Yes.
interesting that you said the younger robot because you're doing that. You're projecting the feelings that you feel about this robot onto it or him,
Yes.
whatever, as the almost younger brother
Mhm.
of the family,
Right.
and is trying to comfort the older one that's maybe a little bit more emotionally developed, and that's why they're having such a hard time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And, what did you guys think was the message? Because this is one thing I didn't quite understand, and if I
Mm.
thought about it and rewatched it a couple times, maybe I'd understand it more, but what do you think was the meaning behind the, I'll just say the older robot, the taller yellow one?
Uh,
What was the meaning behind him continuing to lose power, like, be low, and then the younger robot keeps giving him power, like, keeps sharing his
so
power
yeah,
with him?
it's the whole thing is, um, when you're dealing with a tragedy or something, you're taking it, you don't have strength, you're not sleeping, you're not there's no energy, um, and it can feel like you are just fading away. And the whole point is that this younger one still has the ability to continue forward, and it's
Mhm.
about sharing that with the other person, sharing it, helping them keep going,
Right,
Yeah.
until they can stand on their own feet,
right.
um, and also helping to not necessarily to let go, but to remember as well,
Mhm.
as part of like the snowman and everything, that
And I
they're
think also
always sort of with you.
with that, I guess it comes to mind when at the end, when the thing's about to fall down on top of
Mm.
him, the younger needs the older to still be there and protect him.
Yes, exactly.
He can't just be absent, and
Mhm.
it's like the older realizes that in the moment, so it's like the younger the younger kind of pushed him and got him out of or assisted him by being present and giving him
Mhm.
his energy and giving him his attention and his care, and even when he didn't really want it, and then in the end, the older realizes, "Well, I have responsibilities to help him too, you know?
Yeah.
I can't be absent here."
And it's a really good representation of how it is to be in a relationship, whether it be your siblings,
Mhm.
your parents, your spouse. It's the even like roommates and stuff. It's one person can often be there for the other until the roles reverse.
Right.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's a story that everybody can relate to, and the fact that they're robots, you know, everybody can relate to. There's no race, no gender, no nothing. It's just a story I think everybody can watch and have a good time with, and
Right.
it really, I think it really spoke to me, and I think that's the point of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is the
Let's
creator of this? The
so the
Dust?
creators, yeah, Dust the company, which Dust, I think they
They're
come out with,
more,
like, 1 sci-fi a week, I
yeah,
think.
they hosted it.
They hosted it. I think they're Dust is like the sci-fi branch of a larger company. I wonder I can't remember what the parent company is.
It's Gunpowder and Sky.
Gunpowder and
It's an
Sky.
independent entertainment studio.
And they
Okay.
dive deep into the festivals, I think, constantly. But
Yeah,
Dust
they're
is
not
there.
anywhere around here, are they?
No, I mean, maybe. Yeah, that'd be interesting to look up, but I
Yeah.
know they have some of their shorts are, in other languages and stuff, so I don't think they're necessarily US based. Be cool to figure out.
But they host, they give opportunities for filmmakers of being able to, like, they will enter you into competitions, enter your stuff into competitions,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they helping to get people's movies, get people's names out there. And like you said, yeah, they have a horror division and they have a sci-fi division.
That's awesome.
um and it's about independent filmmaking and stuff. And do we know who the creators of
Yeah, so the
this one?
creators of this one, is Steve Lawson
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on his
and
Instagram right now.
Emma Hansen.
Okay.
Let's see, I'm gonna go on his Instagram, share this tab. So this is, this is Steve. He has
Mm.
a lot of stuff from the short film up, right?
Yeah.
and other stuff I'm sure he's been a part of. It looks like Guillermo del Toro is an inspiration for him, you know?
Yeah, which is very cool.
It is cool. Kind of looks like Johnny Depp right there.
Yeah.
Got some Johnny Depp vibes. And then we got Emma Hansen. And I think this is an English film, not like the
So
language, but
it cost them £10,000
roughly. That's what IMDb says
to create this, which is about $12,300 US.
Right.
Cool stuff happening, and it's cool that I didn't know much about Dust. I've seen that they are always kind of putting out sci-fi stuff, which is cool and interesting, and I enjoy. It's because I'm always looking for something. I'm always trying to find something, some sort of short film,
especially in the indie market.
Yeah, in the indie market, and they're making stuff.
Yeah,
there's always something coming out from them.
I would recommend, and I think the indie market's becoming a touch more defined. It's still very scattered, but things like Short of the Week, don't recommend everything they post, but some stuff. Also Dust, like if you're into horror or sci-fi, look at the parent companies, Gunpowder and Sky. Look to see their horror division. Dust is their sci-fi division. And if you go on their YouTube, they're going to be posting and highlighting these creators. And so definitely check it out. I think there's companies like this around that honestly a lot of people just don't know about constantly that are really awesome resources to expose yourself to the indie market.
I think also too, if you're a creator and you want to get into it, this is an avenue. You don't always have to go it alone.
Exactly.
This is an avenue to get your work out there, to get in talks with somebody who knows the industry and that kind of stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be something in Atlanta, and if not, we're gonna have to create something. Something for the indie market.
Yeah,
based out of Atlanta.
Well, yeah, that's all I got. I was thinking about doing a game, but I know we did kind of a game last week, and I didn't want to, overdo it.
Right. Now, I did notice, did you guys see Seth's message yesterday when we were streaming out the episode on YouTube?
What was he saying about it?
He just went in the chat and thought that we were actually live. For people that are watching on YouTube, here at the very end, I'm sure they're not going to be. Maybe on playback.
Yeah.
We're not actually live. We're streaming it live. So on Mondays, we are actually live, and we interact with people in the comments. The podcast is streamed out live on Fridays, so you can watch it live. It's kind of like if we premiered a video, but we just want to make sure it's a live experience, so people can hang out in the comments as the audience grows and discuss what we're discussing with each other there. So, Either way, that's the case. If you're curious and you're still here, that's what we're doing. But yeah, Seth was leaving a bunch of comments about his thoughts around DreamWorks during that section, and we were not responding. So he sent us a private message. He's like, "Y'all are for real not going to respond to your chat."
I did see that when I was at work, and I was like, well, I'm at work right now, so.
I went in and responded. He didn't respond to me back in any avenue. So I
responded, but my message didn't send.
I think he just got mad and he's no longer a friend. I think
that's probably it. He
lost another one.
Lost another one. Got to get that back out on the market, I guess to close, you guys want to hear a little scream?
Yeah.
He's randomly got a goat that screams.
I got a little goat that screams. Now this is from one of the worst Marvel movies ever made.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, I thought it was just an awesome screaming goat.
No, it's the screaming goat from Thor. Right.
Funny. Where'd you get that?
I got it. Someone gave it to me as a good job gift. But it's definitely just something from a McDonald's Happy Meal. So yeah, I mean, it happens.
It's funny.
Some people are goofballs and they give you funny things to say good job.